Okay, so I'm just really quickly going to talk about why I think echo chamber is regressive and stalling to our self-development. So it's one thing if you're strong and firm in your foundation, knowing what you're supposed to do, and you're confident in that, and you've got the internal guidance that is what you're supposed to do, okay? And you've got opinions coming at you that you block away. That's one thing. But there's another thing to actually be slightly weaker in your foundation and have doubts about something, but not be ready to hear some uncomfortable truths. And you might not even realize that you feel weak in that situation. You might think that, you might have just made up your mind about what outcome you want from a certain situation or person. And so you only go to people that are going to support that. Essentially, you've already made your mind up about what advice you're going to hear. And you could be blocking yourself from hearing some uncomfortable truths that can help challenge you, to help you to grow. And again, it's like you've falsely guided yourself into a route because you've made your mind up about what advice you're going to hear. Advice you were going to hear. You've chosen what advice you were going to hear. That doesn't really make sense. So it's different being person number 1 to person number 2. Because a lot of the time that could be traced down to certain fears and uncertainty in our foundation about what we were supposed to take. And I understand that sometimes we could be too vulnerable to hear some truths. And just as equally is why I'm saying don't go to anyone and everyone for opinions that are going to throw all these different opinions at you. And don't deliberately go to someone who's going to give you a different opinion. Really and truly, the unbiased opinion from someone who genuinely cares matters. But again, I think you should pray about what you hear. Before you shouldn't really just go by what someone says and act on it. I think pray about it, wait for some internal guidance about what to do. It's more the wise thing to do rather than just jump into hearing loads of different opinions and soaking it in, especially when you're vulnerable, because you don't want to act on something when you're vulnerable. So yeah, I really hope that's helped. I think it might be a good idea to read my description as well and maybe watch my last video. Also, because when I write, I have more time to think about what I'm going to say, and I might say things that I've not mentioned, and I might write in more detail. But yeah, if you would like any advice, unbiased advice, this is also why it's good to go to therapists and life coaches, because that right there is it's not necessarily advice you'll be given, but just sort of like guidance, but I guess the idea of this post is just to be mindful that you're not tricking yourself into thinking that you're going the right direction because you've actively gone to people that are only going to tell you what you want to hear, and then get offended also when you don't hear that from people that you expect to hear it from. That's normally a good guideline to show you that you expected something, okay, from that person. That's